Hello. First question is, what is David Bowie to you, and why does he mean so much? What does David Bowie mean to me? I mean, I think I was lucky that I knew a lot about him and knew a lot about his records, and before he was mega famous, you know, sort of before the Let's Dance, big MTV stuff. So I think for me, because it was, David Bowie would have been someone that my older brothers would not have known that much about. You know, it was something that I sort of discovered through punk rock and all that sort of stuff. You know, he sort of felt like it was someone that I could relate to without my older brothers and their classic rock and all that, which was great. It was just something that I discovered on my own. And he wasn't like a big arena rock guy, which he became that after the Let's Dance, and then so I think the world probably knew more about him then. So for me, it was like, yeah, it was just a weird guy, great songs, but it wasn't like he was trying to be the biggest rock star in the world, even though he was obviously one of the most original and weirdest. It wasn't like he was this giant star. He was just a weird guy, and as many people that played in Oklahoma City, that's where I live, in Oklahoma City. He never came through there because there was no audience there for him. So in that way, I think you felt like someone that you could relate to the way that they did their own trip and became who they wanted to be and changed. And I think a lot of artists who consider themselves artists and musicians at the same time, especially a visual artist like myself or whatever, just the idea that you yourself, your identity and the way you present yourself to the world is part of what you're creating. I mean, there's a lot of artists out there who are just themselves, and they just say, well, here's me and I'm singing my songs or whatever. But that the way you dress and the way you look and even the way you stand when you're singing and all that could be part of your creation. And so I think he's such a great example of kind of like, I was this way a couple of years ago, now I'm this way, and there's just he doesn't try to explain himself or apologize for it. It's like, this is just my trip, this is what I want to do. So in that way, I don't think there is probably a more inspiring real life figure out there for someone, Cool. Second question. Sorry, I'm looking at them here. What is your favorite song and why that song? My favorite David Bowie song would probably have to be "Fame," and so it's a song that's so is a big song. It's such a weird song. I mean, it's a big song, so I heard it all the time, on the radio and everything all the time. And it's such a weird song. I mean, even after you get used to David Bowie being weird, it's an amazingly weird, strangely crafted song. And it just sounds so amazing when you were able to hear that. And back in the day, it wasn't that easy for us to hear music on a really great sounding stereo. And you would hear that on a loud stereo and just be like, oh my gosh, you couldn't believe it. So a lot of great songs, but if I had to pick, one, if there was no other one that I could ever hear again, it would definitely be "Fame." Hello, my dear.
Guess what? I just found out. Hobby Lobby.
We're in the middle of doing.
We're recording right now.
We're doing the interview. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Hobby Lobby doesn't celebrate Halloween. Just needed to tell you that.
I'm confused.
Pretty funny.
Happy Lobby doesn't sell any Halloween stuff?
So they don't sell any Halloween decorations?
No, they don't have anything. They have fall and Christmas out. Fall is just leaves.
Well, you must have, well, then go to Michael's. You know, they got all kinds of stuff there.
No, they're too Christian. They're against it.
Michael's isn't.
I Googled it. No, I mean Hobby Lobby is.
Oh, yeah, I
I
mean,
just can't believe
yeah.
it.
Wow.
I just thought that it would be fun. I was like, I've never gone there for Halloween stuff, but I go there for Christmas and spring stuff. But it's just weird.
Damn, are you going to go to Michael's instead?
I could. Is that out here?
No. I mean, so, you know, it's up there by Target, you know.
We'll see. They had some dinosaurs for him, so he's happy.
Okay.
Okay, good luck. I just had to tell you that.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Bye.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, I know. And they're closed on Sundays and stuff. Yeah. You know, them and Chick-fil-A, you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. Did you ever meet him or did you ever get close? What would you have asked him? Did we ever meet him? No, we never met him. And I think part of it is that we sort of, you know, you didn't expect to. And so we would try here and there to see, you know, if he, like if we would be going to other shows in New York City or something, you know, and just be like, maybe he would be there. We never really thought that he would show up at one of our shows. I mean, I think if he did, he'd probably tell us or something, just so we would all know. But he didn't. He never showed up at any of our shows on purpose, you know. And I think by time we were able to kind of personally invite him, which I'm sure everybody, you know, would do, we would get the responses back that he was not, you know, he wasn't feeling well and stuff like that. I don't think it wasn't like, we didn't know that he was, how ill he was or how close to dying he was. You would just get the feeling, oh, he didn't feel good on this night, and that's the way it was. We did see him perform at a distance. I think it was one of the times that we played one of these big festivals in Europe. Maybe it may have been Glastonbury. It may have been even one of the really big ones. And we were still driving into the festival while he was playing. I think that's as close as we ever got, you know, to being at a performance and then thinking, well, maybe we could be backstage and then you'd see him or something. But I don't think we ever saw him in the flesh, you know, and that's saying a lot because, you know, you see virtually everybody in the world sooner or later, you know, backstage, even if you're not meant to play with them, you know, you see them, Bob Dylan and Pete Townsend and, you know, Robert Plant, all these big, you know, iconic people. So no, and what would I have asked him? Oh, you know, I think at first you probably would just, you wouldn't know what to say, you know. You would just be so shocked to be standing there with the actual person. I remember the first time I met Paul McCartney. I mean, you know, he wasn't prepared to meet me, and I just sort of snuck up on him, you know, while he was watching Neil Young. And I was glad that he didn't know I was there because I was just glad to stand next to him. So I think that would have been the same reaction I would have had to being around David Bowie. You just like, you know, what would you say? You'd have a million questions that he'd just laugh at you, you know, and just be like, why are you asking me all this shit, you know? So I think by time, if we would have ever met him, we probably would have said, we're not worthy, and it would have been amazing, and it would have probably been embarrassing later, but it would have been great. So no, yes, and wow, I wish we would have met him, but part of you is glad that you didn't really, because you'd have just made a fool of yourself. So yeah. Next question. And finally, as it would have been David Bowie's 75th birthday, you know, some way he's still here everywhere, what's your message for him? Well, I think the message for him, if he was here, it wouldn't really be a message for us to him. I think that's part of what you like about people that speak their minds and people that are involved in, I don't know, current things that are going on in the world. It's great that we have there's the giant archive of the internet now where you can see what people thought about things in the past. But there's nothing as valuable as someone having something to say about things that are going on right now. So I don't think I would have said anything to him, but I would have been very glad and would still be very glad if he was just here having something to say about all the things that are going on now. There's stuff about music, stuff about art, stuff about politics, stuff that is just a slight little bit of a guide of how you can live your life. I think people forget that really is what someone like a David Bowie, offers to the world. It's just another way to be, a person, another way to be a musician, another way to be a performer, another way to be just a man in the world, So I think you always are grateful that there's these humans that just have their own path, because I think it makes you encourages you to think that you could have your own path and you could say the things that mean something to you, So I think it would be something like that. But I do feel like he is still here, but in some ways, he belonged even while he was still alive. He was already part of the mythology of not just rock and roll, but of just being a creative freak that he was. And I felt like even while he was alive, he joined the ranks of the untouchable geniuses, living and dead. So it was crushing when he died, because you just thought, oh my gosh, he really was a man. He wasn't a mythological made up character. He really was a man that was alive, and he got sick, and little by little he died, and that part of it I don't think it never occurred to us until after he was dead, because you just always think of him as already being part of the great mythological characters that are up there, whether it's heaven or the universe or just whatever it is that so yeah.